Fighting still got to be fun.
I thought that, but it didn't go so well. I'm old, Sneak. I don't want to change. I'm like Apollo in Rocky 3. I don't want to change, but I'm old. I can't, that ain't us no more. I can't do what I used to do.
So far, though, do you think the Venezuela kidnapping, was it beneficial?
I think that American soft power is based on American hard power, and you can't bark all the time without biting now and again. If I'm actually honest with you guys, the official narrative is bullshit, bro. Maduro either did a deal or his team did a deal, got fucking taken to New York, put on a bunch of different outfits, brought his wife with him, no one got hurt. They're saying a few guards died. Don't buy that shit, that's a lie. The world is a stage. Everything you see and everything they allow you to see is manufactured, it's all scriptured, it's all theater. What we think happened is not what happened. My foreign policy, Sneak, in case you ever wonder, in case I'm confused, is whatever's funny is what I like.
The funniest outcome.
Funny, if it's funny, I'm for it. I don't give a fuck about international law, I don't give a fuck about none of that. It's funny. The world is slavery. It's a big illusion. Basically.
There we go, Andrew Tate. I thought I would do a reaction video to this video I just came across. I think Andrew Tate is one of the most entertaining characters. If you want to be truly entertained, if you truly want to laugh, this is the guy you listen to. Same goes for so many of these figures. Even Trump, I think these are entertaining figures. And yes, they drop wisdom. They say things that make you think. But in terms of moral figures, I absolutely do not think these are the kind of people you want to listen to. Their worldview is such that they will justify anything. Anything is acceptable as long as it is funny. And granted, I realize he's saying that somewhat facetiously. They often justify everything, whether it's invasions on Venezuela, on Greenland, whether it's beating the shit out of someone. I know Tate calls himself a libertarian, and classically that's supposed to be someone that doesn't believe in the initiation of force. It's based off of natural law, first principles, ends don't justify the means, deontological ethics, right? But he is the kind of person that sees the world as a chess game where you can position yourself to do anything and it's acceptable. And people that have that worldview will always be on the wrong side of history, at least from a moral perspective. Yeah, you can make the argument these people may be great. They have this conqueror mentality like Alexander the Great, like Pol Pot and whatnot. However, ultimately, they're not the kind of people you want to look up to as moral figures. And let's just talk about some of the claims he just made, right? One of the things that I heard said many times by seemingly Tate supporters, right? And it's not like a new thing. I mean, these are things that have been said time and time again, and there's always a kernel of truth towards it. But when people speak in generalities and make it sound as if it is a definitive, it is a certitude, it's something I have a massive issue with. It's like saying that people are stupid. Yeah, some people are stupid, or saying that black people are thugs, or saying that Jews are, they want your money, right? And it's we understand that there might be some generality. For instance, the point he's making, this is a talking point I've heard by a lot of conspiracy theorists, but these are just low-grade thinking people, right? Because the thing is, there are conspiracies, there are conspiracy theories, and there are things that happen. Now, this is a talking point, right? It's like everything is controlled, everything is planned. First and foremost, if you adopt that definitively, you are a Momo. One, you're saying that there is no free will, there is no ability for anyone to do anything without being controlled, without being a puppet and so forth, right? Which is just unequivocally false. There are competing interest groups. Just being a human being, for that matter, means that you're going to want to do certain things that not everyone is in favor of. And as a result, you will try to achieve something and you will come up with resistance. Not every single thing that you do and you see being done by people is planned, is all part of an agenda. Some people work towards different goals. And if you apply that in terms of everything that is going on the world stage, people, figures, leaders like Donald Trump, politicians and people in business, Elon Musk, sometimes they have interests that converge. Other times they don't. You do find sometimes people competing with each other and they don't plan everything. This idea that you can somehow see the future and you know exactly what's going to happen. You can pull the wool over everyone's eyes by staging an event and knowing exactly how people are going to respond to it. Yeah, that stuff happens. There are psyops. People manipulate you, but it doesn't always go according to plan because the reality is you cannot completely control people. We're not some we're not these drones that don't have any autonomy. This idea that everything is planned is inherently flawed. So when people like Tate spout this nonsense and they start saying that, look, well, it happened, it must be staged. There was a shooting, it was staged. This is the Alex Jones trap that people go down. And just to be clear, I am someone that has been watching Alex Jones longer than 99.9% of people that view the internet, longer than Tate and Shneako, all right? However, I know enough to know that Alex Jones does this thing, and a lot of people, Candace Jones to some extent, even though I think she's a bit more rational, right? Where they assume everything is planned because they've seen it so many times in history. It's like if you're living in a neighborhood full of black people, right? And you see them popping caps on people's asses all the time, right? The next time you see a black guy, you'll say, oh, well, you know, this guy is going to pop a cap in my ass, right? Or you'll immediately assume that if there is some kind of altercation, it must have been a black guy, when that's not the case. It's not always planned. In regards to the Maduro situation, look, I don't know definitively what the details in regards to any kind of like hidden agendas are going on around that, but let's start up with the very basic here. No, it wasn't right for Donald Trump to invade a southern country. If you take that approach and say he was doing some kind of good thing, then you just take away the rule of law and you can justify anything. Why don't we invade the United States? When I say we, every other country, right, that has some kind of beef with the United States, the fact that it's dropped bombs in Iraq, Iran, and so many other countries. Why don't you apply that consistent attitude to every other country? Of course, people use that selectively. I mean, the idea of saying that it's somehow okay for the United States government to hijack or kidnap Maduro, right, because it was some kind of like necessary evil. I hate that argument, and this is the argument I find a lot of people subscribing to purely because they think it removed a bad person. Okay, like let me give you that. Maduro may have been some drug smuggling bad person, right? Why don't we abduct Donald Trump, someone that has threatened to invade Greenland, someone that has done acts of warfare, right? Like pretty much all, if not most of the presidents in the last 20, 30, 40 years, right? That game is a very slippery slope, and I don't subscribe to that. But I just wanted to get that out of the way. Let's continue with this.
Everyone's a fucking slave, but me. And I treat my slaves very well, actually. Just so you know, I'm one of the nice slave owners. I pay them far more than I have to.
Yeah.
Defender of the third world. Good to be here. Good to see you. Good to see you, bro.
All right, let's work out this issue a little bit.
Nah, there's no issue.
Yeah, schoolyard.
Okay, so I realized this. I know that there was some kind of streamed event where this guy, Clavicular, right? He's some kind of looks maxer, good-looking guy. Seems to have some crazy attitudes. I think he smokes meth or something like that. I don't know. And then we got Shneako, the content creator that's been around for a long time, and I actually really like Shneako's personality, his attitude. He seems to be someone of principles, and ideologically, I find myself agreeing with him on most issues. Whereas Tate, I find myself to be in this love-hate relationship with him. The problem is he's so fucking funny. He's so entertaining. But if you've listened to as much of his content as I have, and you have the wisdom that I have, you realize he's also a bullshit artist. He's manipulating people on an extremely high level, and you watch his content and how he does it, and you realize that this guy is a mass chess player. He's a mass debater, like yours truly. But he does not always speak from integrity, in my honest opinion. But in any event, I like all of these guys in terms of entertainment, and I think this is some kind of streaming event they had, and I thought I would do a reaction video to this, and I thought it would be interesting to do this now because I know there seems to be a lot of beef that's going on between Shneako and Tate, and thought I'd get a deeper understanding of their worldviews to comment on this.
There's no issue. Yeah, it's political disagreements. There's no issue.
Well, we're all in Miami. Let's have a good fucking time.
Have a
You know
good
what
time.
I mean?
But yeah, politics stopped being fun. I think I did a video after Trump won, saying now it's going to be boring and shit, and I was right. It was loads of fun when it was like against Kamala and the libs.
Disagree there. It's actually far more. It's definitely not boring either way. I mean, I'd say this: if Kamala was in charge, obviously, I mean, this is my subjective opinion, but I think it would be just as interesting. The issues, contentions would be more on a social level, like men parading around as women, all these pronouns and all this kind of stuff should be in support of that, so that'd be crazy, and all these stupid social justice worldviews will be perpetuated. But in terms of like real world agenda shit, the kind of stuff Trump is doing is just as, I don't want to use the word interesting because it's making light of the situation, but it is definitely not boring. It's serious shit. Like what is going on with ICE? What went on with the threat to invade Greenland? These are actual threats, direct violations of international law. This guy is basically behaving like, and I will say it now, as a Hitler. And this is coming from someone that doesn't identify with leftist ideology or conservative ideology, but unequivocally, what Trump has been doing is definitely not boring, and it's just as a hot button talking point as anything that I think Kamala would have been doing or Joe Biden would have not done, but had his administration do. Sleepy Joe, I don't think really was doing much, but in any event, I don't think the Trump administration is boring, and I don't think he was right about that.
Trolling was fun.
No, it was funny. But now Trump won, it's all like, this policy, that policy. Like, who gives a fuck? Like, whatever. Like, I want the fucking homos back in charge.
Okay, you see, that's what I knew was going to come down. It's like the homos. Yeah, man, I only care about those kind of issues. But no, the kind of stuff Trump is doing, I think, is the stuff that you probably should be concerned about if you care about international politics, if you care about wars, all that kind of stuff. Because he's the guy that's making moves, and unless you're some MAGA, brainwashed tribal dude, you will have many criticisms with the kind of stuff that Trump has been doing.
I want them to start chopping dicks off and shit, so I can go up there and just say, try and chop mine off, top two. Then it was funny. Now it's just boring. The only cool thing that's happened recently is kidnapping a fucking Mexican out of his bed in the middle of the night in a black hole. That was fucking.
But it's just the start of the year. I mean, look, granted, maybe the first 12 months of Trump's first term, right? That seemed somewhat mediocre. I mean, we did have that whole thing going on with Elon Musk, right? Like the Doge, Department of, Government, what was it? Anyway, you know what I'm talking about, Doge, right? Now, that was very interesting for the start of last year. There's a lot of stuff. There's always interesting stuff going on with the Trump administration, but just over the last few weeks, we have been seeing some serious shit with Trump. I think Trump's really turning up the notch on geopolitics this year. And I mean, the year basically started with the invasion of Venezuela, and then more recently with the threatening to invade Greenland, a sovereign nation, NATO nation, part of Denmark. And I think things are just going to get more intense. I mean, he's also threatened Canada, Mexico. What country hasn't he threatened to invade?
Gangster.
Black eye on the wife.
Yeah.
They beat the fuck out of her.
Shit happens, bro. Shit happens. They should have been better prepared. Venezuelans are very understanding of kidnapping. They know it well. So they should have prepared better.
You see, you can't help but to laugh at Tate because he is so funny, and that's this is my biggest problem. Like, I don't have a problem acknowledging this kind of stuff. When someone is that funny, it's really hard not to like him. This is the same problem I have with Trump. He's so entertaining, but as an actual person, I mean, you have your senses have to kick in as well. Because the thing is, I believe I have a strong sense of justice. So as much as I can laugh at horrible shit, right? And I think it's good to laugh. I think there's never a situation where if you can laugh, you shouldn't laugh, as long as you're not doing it to make people feel like shit, right? But that being said, I'm still gonna call it out. Like, if you're doing something that's fucked up, it's fucked up. It just happens that the way in which you're expressing what you're doing may be funny, and how you talk about it. And, Trump and Tate, I put them in the same category because they're people that do objectionably horrible things at times, right? But objectively horrible things, but they also tend to have a sense of humor, and they're so funny. And I think it's very evident. This is one of the reasons why they have so many followers.
Issue. That's my view. When I heard about that, I was like, yeah, gee, it's funny. Definitely a shock.
You can see Myron's kind of listening to him. And obviously Myron's close friends with Tate, and he has quarrels with Tate, definitely when it comes to international stuff, because, Myron has openly expressed his disdain for what's going on, criticized the United States for the way it has treated, its allegiance to Israel, and he's very critical of the Trump administration, whereas Tate he's pretty much a dick rider, when it comes to this stuff. It's like, and this is what I find a lot of conservatives doing. It's like, oh, Trump is in power. Trump can do no wrong. And it's this inability to really just take an objective stance to someone that is on your team, because they're playing this chess game where they're trying to be diplomatic and trying to have a congruence with everyone, which is understandable. I probably make the argument it's the wise thing to do if you want to go further. But I don't like that game from an activist standpoint. I'm not in that game where I'm trying to develop business relationships, where I'm trying to make myself popular for activist reasons. When I speak about global political issues, I'm not doing that to win points. That shit just makes me lose social points, man. I do it because I care about it inherently. And that's not the worldview that I think someone like Tate has. And I think Myron, I think a lot of the views that he expresses are purely because he has these views, you know? He's not doing it with some kind of ulterior motive. Like, he's acting territorially, meaning that he's saying what he's saying because it is the truth. He's not thinking about the outcome. And this is the distinction between someone like Andrew Tate and someone like myself.
Cuba's going to be next. Who else? Cuba, what's next? Greenland.
Oh, there is Mr. Nick Fuentes.
Gonna take the...
One of the most popular figures, it seems, with the Groyper community, right? With these, I guess, right-wing conservatives and whatnot. And once again, Nick Fuentes is a very entertaining guy, and no one hates his ideology more than I do. And I watched this guy rise up into the ranks many years ago. I mean, he was in a debate with, a mass debate, I love saying that, with my friend Adam Kakesh, and I just found myself hating him because he's so brilliant in the way he articulates points in his speech. Like many of these figures are, they're all great speakers, but they're also people that really have shitty ethics. But the thing is, Nick Fuentes, even more so than Tate, is extremely honest about it. Like, he is extremely honest about what he wants, who he is, what he's trying to do. And you got to have some respect for that. And I think a lot of people resonate with that. But he is definitely not someone that you want to be looking up to in terms of moral ethics or any kind of social standing. And that being said, I still think he's a very interesting, entertaining person. And the fact that I find myself learning shit when I listen to this guy, because you can say what you want about these figures, they are not ignorant. And they are not dumb, not by any stretch of the imagination. And Nick Fuentes is someone that understandably has gained a lot of following, and he's risen tremendously just over the last few years.
The whole Western Hemisphere. Monroe.
The Monroe Doctrine.
Donald Trump. Oh, yeah.
Monroe.
Doctrine. That's the first thing that you've liked of his term.
I think so.
I don't think that the tranny stuff really slowed down under Trump, has it?
It's interesting how it seems as if Nick Fuentes has been a little less outspoken here. When he usually, whenever I see him pick up the mic, he's the most outspoken person in the room. But I guess it's a bit of a weird thing because it is a social environment, and I don't think, at least some of these people haven't met each other for the first time, and you're expected just to speak and be comfortable. And whereas Shneako, this is his game, right? This is what he does. Living I realized his social IQ is so incredibly high, and in the way in which he reacts to different social settings and how aware he is of the camera and how he speaks and not being weird about it. That's someone that has spent a lot of time in front of a camera. But I think these people, at least within a social setting, granted they're all behind the camera and so forth, obviously Tate, Shneako, same would apply to Myron there. These are the social animals. I think Nick Fuentes is probably, my opinion is he doesn't seem as comfortable in this environment. I mean, from what I understand, this guy doesn't even go out to club. Has never been to a club, right? So you can kind of see it in the way that he responds. Usually being someone who's very outspoken, he seems more reserved in this setting.
Dicks are being cut off?
Yeah, I think they banned some.
Yeah?
He's just giving closed-ended questions, and that there is nothing more annoying to me when I'm having a conversation, typically with girls, right, when I feel as if I'm doing all the talking. As much as I love to talk, anyone knows I can talk like crazy. It's frustrating when you're just getting closed answers. You ask a question and someone doesn't go in a rant. They don't really want to talk, and then you feel yourself compelled to ask more and more questions, and it gets to the point where I'll just start saying stupid shit, and I'll just make myself. I mean, I can talk about anything, but I'm also somewhat socially aware, and it just doesn't feel good when you feel as if you're doing all the talking. When someone is a good listener and you can tell they're enjoying themselves, it's all right. But when you can tell someone is uncomfortable with all the questions you're asking, it's just a weird situation, because the reality is, if this was a situation where there were no cameras, yeah, you could probably have some kind of silent moment, but there is nothing weirder than having a silent moment when you're on camera, you're supposed to be interacting, you're trying to get some kind of conversation started, and no one wants to talk, and you have to be the one forcing this conversation. Then you end up asking questions that sometimes are not that perspicacious. They lack perspicacity. And it's like, yeah, so, what's going on in your life? How many girls have you banged today? It's like, So I feel for Shneako right now.
Came up while I was doing the thing in Detroit. They're still on the college campuses, hanging out.
Who? The trannies and shit?
Trannies, yeah. And they both had red hair, which is weird.
That's just Darwinism, though. Like, just do it then. Just fuck off and be a fucking retard and chop your dick off and just fuck off and be suicidal and blow your brains out. Piss off. Bye.
Tate is such a good, entertaining speaker. Like, to be in a room with someone that says shit like that all the time, it's the fucking best. Non-suppressive personalities. Even just calling someone a tranny these days, I mean, it's something, maybe it's because I live here in Australia, like, you're not supposed to be able to say that kind of shit, but when someone is so callous about it, it's like, just have these trannies cut up their dicks and just be done with it. It is so much fun. And being in a room with people who can just say shit like that, oh, I love it. I love it. Oh, God.
It's like they get mad at anyone else that doesn't, like, recognize their bullshit. That's their issue.
I really don't. Maybe I'm just a hard man to bully. I don't get this. Excuse me, my pronouns. I don't fucking know you. I don't know you. Get the fuck away from me. I'll pepper spray you like Nick Fuentes. Get the fuck out of my face. Fuck you and your pronouns. Or fuck.
Nick Fuentes pepper sprayed someone. That's some funny shit, man. Oh, man. I thought only girls do that shit, man. Or police officers, and police officers are girls, as far as I'm concerned.
Fucking freak. Well, I'm not playing this game. Just fuck off.
Romania, UAE, like it's like not real. Like here, it's like they try to force you into their. It's crazy, bro. I can only imagine from your perspective, going from Romania to UAE, then to here, where they're saying that shit. I'm like, what the fuck, like, bro? It's different, man. It's very, very different.
I think being poor, ironically, because of how important it is to get rich and escape that unknowing, not knowing what's.
I love this. You kind of have the older generation with the newer generation there, and they're both highly perspicacious, highly entertaining, unless they're in a social situation like Nick Fuentes, and we kind of get to see both worldviews at play here.
Going to happen tomorrow? Where you're going to sleep? Where you're going to be? That risk, it's different. When you have all the security, there's less to worry about.
That's true. But it's your duty as a man to get as rich as possible, unfortunately, because we have other people to care for, and our lives are not about ourselves. So my life is about paying for about 110 people's nice life, besides mine. So I get to sit like Scrooge McDuck on my pile of money, miserable. I just sit there angry, sending money to baby mamas. That's how it is. What else am I supposed to fucking do? If I stay poor forever, that's not a life either. So it all sucks. Basically, everything sucks. There's no way out. It sucks if you're poor, sucks if you're rich, sucks if you're famous, sucks if you don't. It all fucking sucks.
There is some wisdom there. There are always downsides to any situation. I've often thought, to have so much money that everyone is constantly hitting you up and you have these responsibilities. I mean, that can't be fun either. Of course, I think what would be worse for people that haven't experienced that, myself included, right, is to be in a situation where you constantly are having to deal with debt. And trying to keep yourself healthy when you're poor and you need money to do that, and you have the responsibilities of life, and then it only compounds when you don't have money. So I think both of them have their downsides, and life is never easy. It was never supposed to be easy, and the stronger that you become, the more adversity you encounter. But I think it's important to ask not for an easier life, but to become a stronger person so you can deal more with the adversity.
So you just gotta be in it for the ride, It is what it is. Everything's fucking shit all the time. Have you ever been having sex with a girl and halfway through go, what the fuck is this shit? What am I?
Yes, but it wasn't like a halfway through kind of thing. It's kind of like, she finally takes her clothes off. Take off your clothes. And I don't know, I did that. That's an Arnold Schwarzenegger line, man. But yeah, and then you're like, oh, she's all fat, and you're like, oh, damn, I feel like I should probably go through with it, otherwise it'd be too mean, I have a friend. Shit. Got too excited there. All right, so as I was saying, I have a friend, right, that was in this exact situation, and this guy got a girl to take off her clothes, And because she was really fat and unattractive, he was like, oh, you know, I just don't feel like it. I'm sorry. And I remember him telling me this, and I was like, oh, God, no. That would be the worst. Imagine being a girl, right, in that situation. So I guess, you know, I just do this pity fuck kind of thing. You know, guys do that as well, ladies. You know, sometimes we just do it because, you know, we don't want to feel bad. So, but to be halfway through it and then be like, I can't be fucked. Hasn't happened to me yet.
This is boring. I'd rather play video games. This is boring. I'm putting on Smash Bros.
Right? I hate when that happens.
This is boring.
Yeah.
It's fucking boring. You know, and then you just stop and she starts crying and shit. It's like, I just don't want to anymore. I got bored. I'm sorry.
That's the thing about Tate. He really just doesn't care, like, in that sense. And I think more so than most people, like, most people have this thing where they care about someone's feeling. I'm not saying he doesn't care. Obviously, he does. I mean, he's not a complete sociopath, you know. But, yeah, his threshold for I really don't care about your feelings is a lot higher than others. Whereas, you know, someone like myself, I think a lot of people see me as being somewhat sociopathic, but I really think they're emotionally retarded, because if you know me, you realize whereas I have different, you know, a different worldview, I absolutely really care. Not just about you, though. I care about pretty much everyone. I don't do this discriminatory kind of shit. I don't like people feeling like shit. But that being said, not at the cost of my own integrity and speaking the truth. And that being said, I mean, if it's only going to cause me a little discomfort, I don't have a problem, you know, giving someone a pity fuck. Don't have a problem avoiding saying harmful shit to someone, even though it's true if it's not entirely necessary. I also don't need to be a dickhead about it, like a lot of these people I think are. You know, a lot of the times they just say mean shit just for the sake of saying mean shit.
Smash Bros is fun.
I love Smash Bros.
Bro, sick game. See, that's fun. So there's a few things left worth living for. But besides that, everything else fucking sucks.
Still have video games.
Everything else sucks, yeah.
It's true.
Everything blows. And things that used to be fun, they're just making worse and worse and more.
3 things that are fun right now for me. Dogs. Love dogs. I think they are beautiful women. And inspiring people through what I love doing, which is art, which is music, which is spoken word. I mean, these are things that I get something out of, like when I'm in the presence of beautiful things, when I'm in the presence of work that excites me and makes me feel as if I'm having a positive impact on people. These are things that I love doing. Video games, I never thought I'd say this. I mean, it's pretty much a rare thing now for me to find a game where I'm like, oh my god, this is so cool. Exploring new worlds, that whole thing, adventure. But yeah, it's not as much of a big thing for me these days. But yeah, I guess it narrowed down to dogs, women, and music. Sex, drugs, and rock and roll. That's the classic 3, right? Sex, obviously, with the women. Drugs, which for me is my music inspiration. I guess actually that would be the rock and roll side of things, right? My drug would be dogs, right? Animals. But sex, drugs, and rock and roll are the magic combination. All things in moderation besides sex, drugs, and rock and roll.
More gay. No, things used to be fun. I think what the actual pivotal shift in the world is that things used to be fun when there was genuine gatekeeping on certain activities. Like, if you had a Lambo, it actually mattered. Because you didn't make it from crypto, you didn't make it from the internet with all this easy money. I made a bunch of easy money too. You actually had like a real factory somewhere and a bunch of fucking peasants who worked for you. You were like a land mogul. So if you had a fucking Lambo in like not 2001, you were actually a guy. And people, it'd be like having a Bugatti today. Worse, even my Bugatti doesn't matter. It was crazy. If someone had a Lambo, it's like they're fucking Jesus, bro. When I had my first Lambo 10 years ago in Romania, I may as well have been fucking Jesus Christ. It was ridiculous. And now, OnlyFans, crypto, streaming, there's so much easy money.
There's a lot of rich retards.
Yeah, a Rolex means nothing, Lambo means nothing, Bugatti means nothing, jets, every dickhead's on a jet.
Yeah, Myron makes a salient point there. There are a lot of rich retards out there. A lot of people have this. This is something I hear rich, powerful people say sometimes, and it's like, that's retarded. That, well, you don't have all my money, so shut the fuck up. Like this idea that being rich is synonymous with being intelligent, having an opinion that matters. There are a lot of dumb people out there, and it's always been the case, by the way. Like this idea that you only gain merit when you have money, it doesn't go hand in hand. There are a lot of dumb people that have access to money. Sometimes it's through inheritance, or sometimes it's just happens to be demand and supply. They have something that a lot of people want. And that might be beauty. I mean, if you're an OnlyFans creator, or that you may happen to be really talented at something, or have a product that other people want, and therefore you're able to get a lot of money from it. It doesn't necessarily mean, though, that you have this great worldview, you have this incredible knowledge, perspicacity, this awareness about reality. Sometimes that goes hand in hand, but not always. And this idea that you have a Lamborghini, therefore your opinion is more valid, is just unwise and stupid. And this is something I hear a lot. And look, I have rich friends. Some of them are very intelligent, and then some of them not so much. And I see this in whereas I would say that people that are rich for a long period of time, they tend to be better with their money. Just like people that are healthy for a long period of time, they tend to be better with their health and their diet. But these things are not always interconnected to every other aspect of society. Like you're good at one thing, therefore you're good at everything. I mean, sometimes they cross over. And once you see the way broadly, you do see the way in all things. There are some people that are excellent in many different things because they've understood what life is about. But it doesn't always apply.
Yachts mean nothing. Women have shown the world that they're just hookers and they'll go with any rich guy. So even having women means nothing. You can be the biggest crypto dork in the world. You're surrounded by baddies because you got money. Because they're all fucking prostitutes. The whole thing's bullshit.
That's the thing that I find true, but also in this idea that women want to be with you because you have money. Some women are like that, but it's also an indication that you have character. To be the kind of person that is charismatic, that is cool. Like a lot of women want to be with a guy that is super entertaining, super interesting, and has a lot going for them. And you can do that without money. There are a lot of, and I'd say this is a loser mentality, a lot of guys out there that have this attitude that you can't have a beautiful woman unless you have lots of money. Well, that's just stupid. I mean, my taste in women is impeccable, all right? And I've seen many beautiful women that have actually opted to be with a guy that doesn't have a lot of money, like yours truly, right? And I would like to think they're not with me because they think I have a lot of money. And look, that has actually happened. A lot of girls have thought I had a lot of money. Then they shortly found out I'm not a rich dude, right? But no, I think what's far more compelling is someone that is charismatic, someone that has riz, someone that can light you up, someone that can make you laugh. I mean, comedy is rich. And when people are so demented that they think their only way of attracting a woman is to have lots of money, which is so unintrinsic. I mean, it's one thing to have characteristics that are more linked to who you are as a person, like you're strong-willed, you are aesthetically attractive, you have confidence and so forth. That's more inherent to you. But when your worth is based on things that are external, outside of you, it's like, oh, I have a nice car, oh, I have lots of money. That's the very definition of shallow. Like if someone's attracted to you because you have money, which you can lose just like that, and granted you can lose a lot of things just like that, but the fact that it's a lot easier to lose these things, right, if they're external to you. When something is intrinsic to you, it's something that is more a part of you, then someone is obviously going to have, if they're not being shallow, would have more value for that because it is a part of who you are. But I could never find myself being with a girl because she wants to be with me because I have a nice car. I mean, I've just never understood that. And this is where we are at in 2026, right? People that have this mentality that a girl only wants to be with me because I have nice things and I have lots of money. When the reality is, I think a lot of girls, I would say guys included, want to be with someone because they have intrinsic qualities. They're funny, they're intelligent, they're charming, they're wisdomatic. They have a strong understanding of what goes on in the world and so forth, wisdom. I mean, this is how the ancient Greeks would look at attractive people. Like their women had this idea that being with an older man was attractive because he had wisdom, and the offspring would inherit that wisdom, right? The idea, and I think that's attractive. Like actually wanting to be with someone because they have qualities about them that are intrinsic to them, as opposed to I want to be with this person because they have lots of money. I mean, let's see how that goes. you lose your shit, and then they no longer want to be with you. And that happens a lot more easily when it's with wealth.
There's nothing left to like gatekeep. Nothing left to have. You can have 20 of the most beautiful women in the world in a private jet, and you can land and stay in a $10 million house and go on a yacht and drive a Bugatti. No one, who gives a fuck? None of it matters.
Too, is that like women, like they have access to all this shit now, so it's like
it's normal.
Chick, if she's already like, oh, I've done this before, right? But whatever, it's like, yeah, whatever.
It's all normal to them.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's
and
just.
Like there's a lot of rich retards. Like you look at someone like I don't believe her on this, but like that Rain bitch, saying like she makes more money than LeBron. I don't believe that.
Yeah, me neither.
She's even close is ridiculous.
Of course.
Like zero competence, retard.
We'll take it from a professional human trafficker who had a webcam company.
I actually do believe that. The idea that an OnlyFans creator can make more money than a basketball player. I mean, it's demand and supply. Some people, and look, one of the most sought after commodities is sex. I mean, the idea that you think that's not going to sell as well as basketball game. I mean, come on, man. It doesn't always go hand in hand. So when people are like, oh, what, you earn more money than this guy? Oh, I like this guy more. How can you earn more money than him? Well, bro, that's demand and supply. I mean, sometimes you could be the most successful, brilliant person at making elastic bands, right? And because everyone wants elastic bands, you could be a lot richer than someone that is an extremely intelligent masturbator. Because more people want to have elastic bands than listen to masturbates.
Only white boys are paying for that shit. White men, only white men are sending those girls money. Because black men.
Is that true? I mean, I've never paid for. That's just. I guess I'm just a Jew in that sense. But I've never understood the idea of paying for shit like that. Anytime like someone wants me to pay for their affection, I'm like, get the fuck out of here. I've never paid for sex. Never will. Never have, never will. And I don't, even when I'm on like a dating app and then I find out I have to pay like a few dollars to send someone a message, I'm like, fuck that shit. Fuck you. I recently actually just started up using this app. What's it called? Mumba or something like that. It's this Russian dating app, right? Giving them a free plug here, Mumba. And I'm like, oh, sweet, I get to talk to Russian girls. I like this shit. Yeah, give me some of that. And I sign up, right? I'm like, then I find a girl that's like relatively close to me. And I'm like, oh, sweet, let me message her. And then I find out I have to pay like $5 to message. I'm like, what? And, this just shows how stingy. I'm like, I'm not paying for that shit. Fuck you. That's absolutely retarded. This is the 21st century. It's like where you're expected to pay money to actually talk to someone. I mean, I am an absolute Scrooge when it comes to shit like that. When I've had people message me, right, asking me to give them money just so they can, so that I can go on a date with them, that kind of shit. And I'm like, get the fuck out of here. Like, no. This is why I don't understand the whole transactional relationship and how a lot of guys are cool with that kind of stuff. Like, yeah, I don't have a problem spending lots of money on you if I like you. I don't have a problem with any of that stuff, but it's the idea of doing that just in order to get your attention. Or it's something that I don't resonate with.
Ain't got no money. So, it's only white guys. And the funny thing about it is, the same white guy who will sit on Twitter and give me a fucking hard time, I'm so loyal to my wife, you're a fucking scumbag, your wife, you need to be loyal. Second his wife goes to fucking bed, he sits in the bathroom with the door locked, jerking off to some fucking girl on the other side of the planet pretending she gives a shit about him. And I know that's a fucking fact because they made me rich. So I know it's true. So don't give me that fucking tough guy crap about your ugly wife. It's all a fucking coat. It's all a lie. All a lie.
Fighting still got to be fun.
I thought that, but it didn't go so well.
It probably was still fun, the fight camp, the process, getting back in there.
I'm old, Sneak. I don't want to change. I'm like Apollo in Rocky 3. I don't want to change, but I'm old. I can't, that ain't us no more. I can't do what I used to do.
I feel old now around Clav, 20 years old, blasting TRT.
How old are you?
27. We're both, me and Nick, at 27. We're catching up to you.
Well, I'm 40 this year, bro. I'm old. And I got kids and shit, and he did really well. I'm proud of him. He did good. I had some weird kind of adrenaline dump after the end of the first round. I said to my coach, I don't feel right, because I was in shape. I trained. It was weird. After the first round, I didn't punch again. I didn't punch again. It was fucking weird.
Yeah.
But then I don't know how many ass kickings I have left in me, bro. You're brain damage, and he's a big guy, bro. Fucking, I'm tough, so I won't go down because I'm fucking stubborn. I'm tough. I'll take my beating like a man. But you fucking leave, and like a week after, I couldn't fucking talk straight and shit. I got fucking endless kids and a company, and you have to start analyzing, is it worth it?
What's next for Misfits?
Well, it's the first time I've really heard Tate speak honestly and being emotionally vulnerable. I mean, as far as emotionally vulnerable you can be when you're someone like Tate, right? But speaking about how, yeah, man, I felt like shit, you know? And that's the reality, obviously. When you lose, it's not fun. And that's the tricky thing. Like, you may love the idea of winning, but you don't actually like what you're doing, right? And that's the thing. You have to separate whether or not you actually whether you enjoy what you're doing because you enjoy doing it, or whether or not you love everything that comes from that. And I've had that when I was doing athletics as a kid. I realized that I was, for instance, really good at long jump. That was my thing. Like, it's the one thing where I never had to try, and I remember qualifying to the state so easily. I remember I qualified to the nationals. Went to compete in the nationals jumping on my left foot, right, doing triple jump, right, which it was like the first time I'd done that, but I was just naturally just good at that shit because I just had bounding ability. But the thing is, I reached a point where I started competing with people older. You know, once puberty kicks in and everyone catches up, I started realizing that, oh shit, I'm not kicking everyone's ass at this, and now I really have to train. And I realized that when I started losing, that I didn't enjoy what I was just doing. It was just the fact that I enjoyed winning. And you know, that being said, there are other things that I've really sucked at. However, even though I keep on, you know, I'm around people that are better at doing those things than me because I love doing it. It pushes me to continue doing it and getting better and better. You know, whether that's playing guitar or whether that was, you know, a lot of things. And I think you really have to separate whether or not you're doing something on the sheer enjoyment of it or doing it because of what you get from it. It's what's referred to as acting territorially, doing what you do because you love doing it, as opposed to doing it because you want to get shit from it. You know, that's what's called being a hack. And I think that's one of the reasons why Tate doesn't really enjoy what he's doing, man. Like, obviously, it's hard. It's hard to do anything like that, particularly fighting, and it's not really worth it if you lose. Or if there's so much shit that comes from it. And I think people don't like the idea of fighting. They just like the idea of kicking ass. I mean, I certainly have never liked I like the idea of martial arts, just the art form of like being able to use your body, being able to move around in this way where you're actually able to combat and defend yourself. But the idea of I've never liked the idea of beating the shit out of someone and causing pain to them. That's never cool. And the people that have that mentality, like Tate, heard him say many times, I've never respected that. That's not the underlying hallmark of a real martial artist, right? It's more about self-improvement. This is from the Eastern philosophical standpoint. But that being said, I've never liked the idea of getting my ass handed to me either. Like, in terms of like, if it's done in a way where I'm not suffering brain damage, yeah, you know, it's kind of like playing Call of Duty, right? Like, it sucks when you're getting your ass handed to you by some 9-year-old kid, right? But the downside is you don't deal with physical harm and all that kind of stuff. Like, when you get old, you start realizing that there is a toll from every altercation, right? Like, it's not just an ego thing. It's more of a physical toll. Like, if I have an injury now, it puts me off for like a week, 2, sometimes months, and that's not fun. I recently was working out really hard, and I got this back injury, which I'm still recovering from, and I'm like, oh fuck, this is what happens when you push yourself too hard. And when you do sports, it's like that. Is this worth it? So all of these factor into the equation.
A lot. They've got a bunch of stuff. And I still might come back. I said all that crap. I still might come back and fight.
I think so.
So we're going to see what happens. But let's see. But I wouldn't call fighting fun. Yeah. Fighting is distracting. Like, you don't think about fun if you have a fucking court case or cancer. But you're not having fun with those things. You're just distracted from the idea of having fun.
It's the amount of responsibility.
Of course, you just got pressure, so you don't think about fun. But you're not enjoying any of it. Fighting sucks. It's hard.
You don't seem like somebody. You don't seem depressed. You're speaking like a depressed person, but I don't see that at all.
I'm not depressed.
It's not real.
No,
yeah.
I'm not. I get a lot of enjoyment from complaining. Like, I'm really happy when I'm miserable. you know?
Yeah.
I'm like the Grinch at Christmas, but I get joy in my heart from Grinching.
I enjoy, like, my favorite part of his show was when he's angry at the TTS, when he's just pissed off, like doing that look.
The audience's favorite part.
That's the funniest part of the show.
Because I'm miserable.
I don't tune out. I'll skip the show and watch you get mad at TTS. I would love to fight on Misfits.
Would you?
Yeah.
You sure?
Absolutely. I've been waiting, yeah.
Who do you want to fight?
There's some people, a lot of people want to, a lot of people ask for
Who
it.
do you want to fight? Tell me who you want to fight. We'll sort it out. I'll get it done.
Anybody, all the people calling out for it, asking to.
Yeah?
It could be interesting.
All right, we'll talk about it.
All right.
This guy.
That'd be a great one.
Barbadian, you ain't ready for the Barbadian punch.
I'm ready.
It's different
I'm
down
ready
there.
whenever.
It's different down there. Let him know. Tell
Let's
him
sign
Fred.
it. Let's get it
Tell him
done.
Fred. Yeah, real. That's right. Yeah, at your age, you should. What the fuck else you gonna do? Now, the best thing about life is kids. That is true. But all these like dudes on Twitter, they have a kid and they become a complete fucking homo. I don't know. I don't get. They become complete like women. You don't have to do that. You just have the kid.
Tell everybody else you need to have kids right now. It's like, bro.
No.
Yeah, that's the one thing about Tate that I respect, man. It's kind of like a lot of people think that you stop having any kind of interest once you have children, and I've heard this. Apparently, the testosterone levels, the psychology of adults' parents, right, changes once you have children. But Tate has not changed, not a modicum with that. He's still popping out babies, and he's still going around with seemingly chasing women, and his passion for tail has not subsided, not even one bit. And I respect that, man. I plan on being one of these old geezers, right, that is still kind of like, hey man, let's go to the clubs, pick up some girls. You know, I like that shit, bro. It's and it's fun when people kind of have that passion as opposed to having this attitude of, oh, well, I don't have time, to talk about ladies. Let's talk about grown-up shit and talk about children, all this. It's not a maturity thing. I hate when people play this game of like, oh no, you trust me, you'll become more mature when you have kids. Shut the fuck up. I'm older and wiser than you are. Shut the fuck up. I'm just not interested in that kind of shit. When people play that game, it annoys the shit out of me. You're making this assessment on what my values are based on my stage in life. When 100% of the time when people say that, they're always incorrect about my stage of life. They always think I'm a lot younger, had a lot less experience than they have, and when the reality is it's the opposite. I've always been in a situation where I've been older and wiser than these people that say this kind of shit. It just so happens that I have a different outlook. It's like someone that wants to be an artist versus someone that wants to be a doctor. It's like, oh, trust me, when you get older, you'll realize that being a doctor is much better. No, shut the fuck up, Momo. I'm just not interested in being a doctor right now. I don't want to do that. Or people have different interests. When people perpetuate this worldview of like, oh, the reason that you haven't arrived at doing what I'm doing is because you're in a different stage of life. No, Momo, it's just because we want different things. And I have respect for people that can at least be honest enough to acknowledge the fact that everyone wants different things. But I also like the fact that Tate is one of these guys that he hasn't compromised on it. He still has this childlike personality beyond all of the bravado, all of the awareness, all the intelligence. He is still a child at heart, and I am. I think everyone is like that, but there are some that have put this facade of I'm an adult now. I'm so mature that there's certain things I can't talk about. And I will never do that. That's probably one of the reasons why I get along with kids so much and dogs, because my ability to kind of just let my guard down and be silly and like just playful like that, I think is more so than a lot of people that have adulted, right, into this mindset where they have to be appropriate. I mean, it's not to say that you don't take on the burden of responsibility, but you just don't give up that enthusiasm, that sense of awe that you have, which is something that you find within people that haven't lost their childlike attitude towards the world.
But it's like, if you're a real dad, you're a fucking faggot. Having a kid is like having a pet. It's like having a dog. You like your dog, and you love your dog, and you keep your dog alive,
right,
and you play with your dog. But you don't dedicate your life to you're not a fucking retard.
Oh, God, I don't know if that's true because I don't have any kids, at least that I'm aware of, right? But I really like that outlook because I mean, I feel like I would dedicate a lot of my life to a dog, though, because I get way too attached to that shit. That being said, like this, and I think it's easier to have that mentality when you have a lot of money. But when you don't, your entire life, so much of your money has to go towards helping raise that child. That's a very different story. But to be in a situation where you're kind of like, yeah, I have lots of pets. I love them to death, but I'm not going to devote my entire life to those pets. There is something very cool about that. But I also resonate with it, but not from the perspective of like not wanting to give them everything. Because when you really love someone and you're enthralled in them, it's so all-consuming, right? Like you want to spend as much time as you can with them. That's how I feel about animals, and I'd imagine that's how I would feel about a child if I had a child.
An hour, okay, love you.
An hour.
An hour, yeah, and then you go on with your life.
An hour a day, an hour a week.
Whatever, depends on the mother.
Yeah.
If the mother's nagging, it has to go down. But in general, you just, that's it. Kids are good. Kids are fun. But everything else is shit.
That's part of it, right? Because you're older now, you've experienced a lot. It's like when someone comes to New York, I like showing them around because you get to see it from a fresh perspective.
Yeah, of course.
Having
Exactly.
a kid has got to be
You get
like
to live
that.
through the
You get
child.
to see it through their lens.
That's right. That's the best thing about the kid. Kids are easy. They're not hard to raise. Everyone says having a kid is hard. Fucking lie. They're not expensive. Kids are easy. Mothers are hard because mothers are fucking women. But if the mother's cool, kids are fucking easy, bro. Before I had kids, I used to see like kids screaming on the plane and shit. And I used to sit and go, my kid will never scream on a fucking plane. And everyone's like, well, he's a kid. You can't yell at kid. I fucking swear before you, my kids, if I say shut up, they fucking like soldiers, bro. They're 3, 4, 5, any age. They know not to fuck with you.
Yeah, good luck with that parenting. I mean, first of all, people are individuals. Some people, of course, you responded as a child because you have no choice, but these kids may end up resenting you for it. The way in which you treat your child is going to come back at you. When later on that child, may have the attitude, oh, look, my dad's raised me up to be all mighty and strong and whatnot, but if you are too heavy-handed, you were too much of a dickhead, your child is going to end up hating you. And that's coming from experience. You can't, the tricky thing, I think, being a parent, and I think this just goes with so many different aspects of life, right, is that you're trying to find the balance between being a good role model, but also being someone that is that child's friend that you actually really love, care about, and so forth. And if you overstep that and you start treating them as if they're these beings that don't have any free will, they are yours so you can do what you want with them, there are repercussions to that. And in the same way, if you treat a friend like shit, it's going to come back at you. The same applies to your children. People have this weird understanding of how the metaphysics or the ethics of parenting, thinking that you can somehow do anything you want to a child just because it's yours. You don't own children. They're a gift from the universe. And when you adopt that mentality, like with every relationship in life, you're going to find that there are outcomes to that your child may end up resenting you and may end up warring with you because you've tried to control them. Yeah, of course, they're going to listen to you when they're a child because they can't do anything. But when they grow up and they get their independence and they look back in hindsight at how you treated them, they realize that you were a menace. And then, of course, you have to bear the weight of that. And now, granted, someone like Tate won't care about that because he's a bit of a sociopath, right? But that's the reality of the situation.
Me on any level. I take my son. He's 5.
See him doing the squats.
Bro,
and
he's
then 1,
5.
2.
I said to him, I said, if you want to get good at anything in life, it's going to be boring. So you're going to get good at being bored. He's like, yes, sir. I'm like, okay. I sit him on the couch. No Nintendo, no TV, no phone, no iPad. Sits there with a cup of water. And I sit him there. And I go to work for fucking 6 hours. Doesn't fucking move, doesn't say a fucking word, because he's scared for his fucking life. And it's not because I hate him, it's because I love him. And you can raise them that way. This whole idea that kids are unruly is coke Western bullshit. The same idea that women are unruly. It's all Western bullshit. My kids obey me like fucking soldiers. The daughters, the sons, everyone. It's fucking easy.
When you hold all the cards, when you have the money, when someone is beholden to your will or your money like that, yeah, it's easy. But when someone has independence and you're ruling them out of fear as opposed to love, good luck with that shit. If you want to be a feared ruler, that stuff works when someone is fearful of you and they have reason to be fearful of you. But when someone gains their independence, it's a completely different game. It's one. I heard this analogy a while ago, and it explains the situation. If you go to a meeting, some kind of a discussion, right, and someone has a gun and you don't have a gun, it's a very different interaction. Obviously, that person that is holding the gun is going to have control, and the person not holding the gun is going to be subservient to the will of the other person, because at the end of the day, you're watching what you say, you're tiptoeing. But when two people have a gun, it's a very different conversation. If someone has all the power, then it's a very different conversation. Yeah, if the situation is such that you may have all the power now and you think there's this love going on, but at a point you're going to realize that the balance changes. And if you're acting out of power, a point's going to come when that person has the power, and they may very well treat you the same way that you treated them. But when it's done out of love, regardless of who has the power, it's a beautiful thing. Because when that other person that you've shown integrity and respect towards has more power than you, they, a lot of the times, I would say, naturally feel inclined to show you love and affection. And as a result, there isn't this fear mentality, and you still treat each other accordingly. But that worldview, that fearful, hey, look, I do to you whatever I want because I have my best interest at heart, you're speaking like a totalitarian. And I always find this disturbing, because the people that adopt this worldview, they talk about freedom and so forth. Actually, I don't think Andrew Tate really talks about that these days. I think he has identified at some point as being libertarian, but most libertarians don't really care about that shit. The people that do, people actually care about the concept of free will, of deontological ethics, first principles, that kind of stuff, based off of natural law, natural rights. They tend to have that understanding that you don't force your will on someone just because you think it's good for them. And you try to live your life where you want the best for someone, but you're not willing to override their free will in order to achieve it. The ends don't justify the means. And that is the distinction between Andrew Tate's parenting approach versus, I would say, someone that is someone like a Marcus Aurelius, right? Someone that I'm sure would not adopt that mentality. But that being said, I don't know how well his parenting skills, the fruits of his parenting skills, how well that played out, based on the history of some of his offspring anyway.
But when the mom comes along and they know they can play games, my daughter sits there, oh, I don't like this. I'm like, you don't like that because your mom doesn't like that, and your mom told you not to like it. Eat it. Okay. And she fucking eats it. I'm like, what the fuck is this stupid game? It's all the fucking mum, bro. Kids are great.
Oh, so kids don't have the ability to think for themselves. They just regurgitate what their parents have told them to do. Some of them certainly did not apply with me. Like, I always find it weird when people say, my parents raised me, or I had people like my parents influencing me and the environment influencing me, but my worldview in terms of the inner sanctum of my soul had always felt a certain way about certain things, and there's nothing that you as a parent or anyone else was going to say about that. And I've always found it weird when people adopt this attitude that they're just a product of their environment. The circumstances of your birth are irrelevant. There is this underlying aspect of who you are that transcends all of that bullshit. You have the ability to think for yourself. As a kid, I was just aware of certain things I didn't want to be part of. When my parents wanted me to eat certain shit, I didn't feel right about it. That's why I don't eat animals, for instance, A lot of people think, oh, that's your liberal brainwashing. No, that's because I have a fucking soul, and I am able to observe things around me, and I can understand the universe. And as I learn more about the world, my worldview changes accordingly. But one of the things that's always stuck with me is my respect for all sentient life. That's got nothing to do with the fact that my parents raised me in a particular way. And that applies with pretty much all of my ethics. I've been able to think for myself rationally, logically. I've read a lot of stuff, but I've always had this consistent understanding of how I view the world, regardless of the input that I get from my parents and people around me. This idea that, oh, look, you've been told how to do something, you're a kid, so therefore you cannot think for yourself, is absolutely ridiculous. People don't give children enough credit for their ability to think for themselves. As a kid, I can remember as early as 6 thinking for myself. Granted, I didn't have anywhere near the level of awareness. You kind of just, you're stupid in terms of your knowledge and understanding, like I am still with certain things in this world. But obviously, I have a lot more experience now, and I can guesstimate what's going on on a topic, even though I've never taken on any information about it, more so than I could when I was, let's say, 6 years old. But that being said, there's still this underlying internal awareness, this intuition, this logos that is embedded within you, and you're able to understand reality for yourself because of your connection towards the divine. And as a result, I find a lot of children sometimes are actually more spiritually wisdomatic than many parents, many people around them, because they're more tied to their intuitive ability as opposed to just listening to what other people have told them.
I don't even care where this phone